We are live,
This isn't a
I
Gen
think.
2 video.
Oh,
I don't know what
okay.
that means.
I mean, it could be a Gen 2 video. Do you want to make it a Gen 2 video?
I I
What do we know about Gen 2? Emerge World, I think, is
I mean it's a Linux distro, right?
it is. It's a Linux distro that helps you go through Linux from scratch. Have you ever done that before?
Go through Linux from scratch. I did go through Linux from scratch in 1991.
Oh, that's way earlier than me. Holy moly. I think I did LFS in 2002, 2003, right around the same time I was doing
Yeah.
Gen 2. And Gen 2 was just a lot easier. Yeah, I think I
It
started with the
was
stage one.
I
Yep.
was the I got on board the second after the second posting that Linus did to a Usenet group saying, "Hey,
Oh,
here's this project I'm playing around with."
whoa. Oh, you're talking about real Linux from
Linux.
scratch, not like the Linux from scratch guide,
Oh
which is
no
what
no
I'm
no
talking
no
about.
no no. Before
I
the
mean,
Linux from Scratch
listen,
guide was probably written.
I think
Yeah,
we're talking about the same thing. It's just one of them is like a how-to walkthrough, and the other
yeah.
one is
There was no
Matt trying to
documentation.
figure out some source code.
Yeah, no. It was a 20 something day download over Z modem at 300 baud. It was
Oof.
terrible. Oh, at 1200, but I kept retrying because I'd start it and then I'd go off to class and come back and it would have failed. So I did like many retries later, even with like Z modem with sliding windows and it would still crash every now and then. It's like start over.
That is amazing. I think I was online later than a lot of people, but I think I first got online in 1999, so a little bit after that,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. But I know of Z modem or Z modem. I never had to use it. I'm loving, by the way, the proliferation of tools that have Z in the name now. It's fantastic. One of which is
Yeah,
the IDE called Z, which
yeah,
is definitely spelled ZED, which
yeah,
I think is
yeah.
perfect. But I'm
So
here for
is it spelled ZED?
yes.
Yeah.
So see what I did there? See what you
Yes.
did there?
Yes.
Said Z top. Uh,
Yeah.
but I will say that a lot of that modem technology and some of the file handling and compression algorithms came out of that lack of
Hmm.
bandwidth. So some of the things that we
Yeah.
enjoy today, I think RAR or ARJ was the
Yeah.
first one, ARJ. I'm not sure if you remember this, but as
Well, tar predates that.
oh, I mean that for sure. I was trying to take the Russian angle here. Sorry,
Okay.
I was trying to delve into your university degree just a little bit,
Yes.
if we could, for a moment. But there were quite a few tools for compression that came out of Russia, ARJ being the
Yeah.
first, RAR being the second. And
Right.
RAR is actually still alive today. And I
Right.
think part of that was PAR files. And I believe those are still alive today, at least in news groups. But I
Yeah.
find this amazing that the stuff left over from Usenet BBSs and things like that are still actually in use to this day in terms of being able to
Thinking
check data
of
correction.
Russian software, I don't know how old
Hmm.
it is. I don't think it goes back that far. I mean, one of the biggest Russian software packages that's still being used and is very popular is, of course, Nginx.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I was thinking you were going down the far angle because we were talking about
Hmm.
two-pane
Oh yeah,
file
yeah, yeah,
browsers.
yeah.
But yeah, Nginx, I just did install in fact an Nginx Ingress, Nginx, sorry, Ingress controller in
Okay,
Kine.
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
playing around with Kine. And yeah, it's still alive and it's still I feel like it's the easiest Ingress, maybe because I've run Nginx in prod, or
Hmm.
Nginx or Nginx as other people will call it. It's for those of you who are unaware of what we're talking about, somebody did ask what the subject is. Yes, definitely cooking tips is what we're talking
Yes,
about. So
yes.
if you want to cook with Kubernetes on your laptop, I think
Hmm.
Kind is a pretty easy way to do stuff. Though I will say I succeeded in corrupting Docker Desktop for the first time in my career. I am unsure how I did it, but luckily I know where all the I guess the
Hmm.
bodies or skeletons are hidden in macOS to like
Right.
clear its
Right.
preferences. Library application
Yeah.
support. There's a few other symlinks here and there that I had to remove. It seems fine now, but yeah, I've been playing a lot with Docker,
Yeah.
and I think I ran into trouble running out of disk space trying to install their update, which is 2 gigabytes.
Wow.
But also like I should have more than 2 gigabytes free on my work laptop. So here we are.
Yeah, I haven't played with the newest stuff from Docker. I really need to. Um,
Yes.
Brett uh, Fisher did a
Hmm.
stream about what was new, and I thought I was getting in on it. Like, oh, he's live. I've missed all his live streams for a long time, probably since last time I was on it. And so I sign on, and he says, "Well, congrats on being here." 3 hours into the stream, it's like,
You made
and of
it.
course, I ask all these questions that they probably covered at the beginning, and yeah, it was
That's how that
like,
works, of course. Yeah. I mean, looking at it now,
um,
the big thing that I think you and I were talking about last week that's in there is the MCP catalog.
right,
I think that is probably worth a look. Sorry, I feel like I'm a
yeah,
little bit delayed here. My apologies. I'll refresh it a bit. But the MCP catalog is that menu of MCP servers that you and I were talking about.
right,
And you rightly said, have you looked at desktop recently? Because I knew it had some of that, but it didn't have it the same way it does now. So you can
mm,
basically just go through and browse an MCP
right,
catalog, which
right,
is
and that
phenomenal.
was
This is where
there
we want to be.
a few weeks ago, probably May,
Correct.
beginning of May, I think, is that release. But there was a newer release,
Correct.
like in the last like week or two, so you would have gotten whatever that new
Yes,
thing is.
you got it. And I may have missed this before, but there's a model section as well, which
Mm-hmm.
just says beta on it. But basically, you can go and grab small LLM2
Sure.
is in there, for example, or
It's
like Gemma 3,
a
Llama 3.2.
CLI which is very very similar to Olama, but it's not Olama.
Thank you for pointing that out to me because it does look very similar
Yeah,
to
it
Olama
does.
in my eyes.
Yeah,
Very, very much like maybe I don't know if you've used a Podman before. Might be
oh
similar
god,
to something called
I've
Docker.
made that mistake before.
I tried it once. Much
Yeah,
love to the Red Hat folks, but yeah, it
Podman and
wasn't.
Orb Stack is another one I played with.
Gotcha. Sorry, Robot Glock there. My apologies. I don't use, or I actually don't delve into Docker Desktop. I use it all the time, but I
Okay,
rarely, if ever,
yeah,
will go into the GUI.
right.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I've been going into the GUI more often in the last few months just to play around. As soon as Gordon first showed up in like
Right.
February, I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Because that's whenever I do a video that talks about Docker, there's a whole bunch of people that comment saying, "Oh, Docker, it's just too complicated." Which if you're not, if you haven't, I mean, if you haven't been around Docker since, I mean, I first started playing with Docker, I don't
Right.
know, probably a couple months after the project started, because Datadog was involved, and I was with
Hmm.
Datadog at the time, um, and I, I think for the person who is just starting now, they're seeing examples, thousands of examples online that are all for different versions of Docker. And the manifest versions, I mean, originally they had to have a
Hmm.
manifest version, and now you don't need that version in there. But it's confusing to know, well, version 3 is actually older than the ones with no version, or it could be the same, or that's
Hmm.
it's hard to know which is the newer version. And documentation is really hard. And one thing that's nice about Gordon is you're going to ask, well, how do I create a Docker file for this particular thing, and it spits it out, and it's focused on just Docker. It's not a general purpose thing. I think that's pretty cool.
I got to be honest. The main feature I used was this like Docker hardened image migration. Just playing around with that
Hmm.
because I am not familiar. You talked about Docker files. I feel like I know a little bit about layers, and I could probably
Right.
massage those on my own. No harm, no foul. It's definitely good to have someone to help you with that because it's a problem. the vulnerabilities, configuration issues. I'm reading through
Yeah,
the feature set here, Gordon on my side, and hardened images. Those were the ones because like I don't know anything about
yeah,
security for Docker. I'm so sorry. Other
yeah,
than like starting from scratch and just having like a shell of a container around something, I am that person who unfortunately will give like root permissions to a container in order to like grab the host, like the opposite of what you want. So I feel like that stuff for
yeah,
me was pretty interesting. It's just pointing out problems in my Docker file,
yeah.
and I
Because
was like, oh, this is
they
handy.
added when they first added what are they called, extensions or whatever they
Right.
are called. Sneak had one for fairly early on, as well as another tool that also did could look inside a container and look for vulnerabilities,
Oh, nice.
and then probably a month or two after that, Docker released their own thing that was exactly that
Sherlock.
same, not to the same level, but enough for most people or for a lot of people. Um, and so anything that can you can see the vulnerabilities that you need to address earlier. I mean, that's great.
Absolutely, especially for me at least, dealing with code that I'm not familiar with, like Next.js or Vue or Vitess or anything or
Yep.
VBuild, sorry, or Vitest. These things are all new to me, which is why I'm messing up the terms. So,
Right.
and it's handy for me to know one, package vulnerabilities,
Mhm.
two, the upstream container that is
Right.
actually secure is like one of those things that's outside of your control. That's what I was talking about from scratch. But
Yeah.
the other is just like getting all this together and trying to figure out licensing. I think I've brought this
Right.
up before. Like
Yeah.
just trying to find licenses that are compliant is like this massive hurdle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just like all of this seems insurmountable
Yeah.
as like a quote unquote lone build engineer just trying to build my own stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult to untangle the enterprise mess that like a love them or hate them, like a windsurf or a cursor or an aider on the open source side or Goose. They create these enterprise behemoths, and it's just like wading through all the
Yeah.
dependencies and security problems can take a long time. So I'll take any help anyone can give me. Someone in the chat said they thought that Docker command line LLM capabilities are better than Olama. I may want to beg to differ just because I'm more familiar
I
with the
don't think that's what
ergonomics
he's
around
saying.
Olama. Okay, my apologies.
I think he's just comparing Docker, suggesting that Docker is not super complicated, and that's why Olama used kind of the idea of the Docker
Oh,
file
okay.
for the model files. Is how I understood that.
Gotcha. My bad, because I feel like the Olama way of doing things is fine. The Docker way of doing things, if you like Docker and you're doing like a Docker native
Hmm.
workflow and you're using the SDK or the API, totally makes sense. For me, I prefer to just use Olama. I
Hmm.
have, on the other hand, used Llama CPP, and I don't want to continue
No,
down
I
that
know.
path. So,
And there are plenty of
so
people in the Discord who will say, "Well, Olama is kind of dumbing down Llama CPP, which is super easy to begin with. So why would I
mm,
use Olama? Because I just use Llama." It's like if you're thinking Llama CPP is easy, like to
right,
really get the most out of it, Olama's not the right thing for you. I mean, go for it.
right, right. If you
Yeah,
want to be mired in config
yeah,
statements, I mean,
yeah,
have at it. It's all yours.
yeah.
Um,
Um I mean that kind of idea comes up so often, where there's an easy solution for whatever it is, or there's the harder solution that requires you to do more stuff. You might have more flexibility with that, but you also have a lot more work to do, and that was brought up a couple of days ago for me for something completely different.
so sorry, you're
Around
just
NAS,
gaining.
around a NAS. It's like, oh, you could have just built this yourself, and had so much more flexibility. It's like, sure,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how much do you like BSD? Speaking of
yeah,
operating systems,
yeah,
I love it, and
yeah,
I'd be happy to spend the rest of my career on C code, let's say, or
right.
Rust code in BSD, not C++. Let's be real for a minute here. Like as a crusty old engineer, like perfect for me. Most people, 99.9% of people, do not want to touch BSD.
Yeah,
Never want to touch BSD.
yeah.
And TrueNAS and was it oh shoot, I forgot the other TrueNAS
Unraid,
Core. Yeah, there's Unraid. Definitely,
mm-hmm.
if that's your if you want
TrueNAS
to click
Scale,
ops, Scale. Thank you.
yeah,
Is what I was looking for. I felt like TrueNAS Scale was the right mix of Linux plus
mm-hmm.
ZFS
Hmm.
or if you want to, you can use another file system. You can actually hokey dokey put whatever you
Right,
want in
right.
there because it's a Linux OS. I preferred that because I
Yeah,
do want to get in and get my hands dirty, and I don't know enough about FreeBSD to do
yeah,
so and trust myself to do so. But on the Linux side, I'm just dangerous enough there. I can go in and just
yeah.
modify the operating
And
system.
I just got a Ugreen NAS.
What do you
Um,
think?
I
I
love
have
it.
so many
It's great.
questions. How's
So
the
I
OS?
didn't love it at first.
Is it online or offline?
What do you mean by that?
So my Asus store, for example, love Asus. That NAS is never touching the internet ever.
Ah,
It has
so
it can't route to the internet. There's no routes. Like it's only got
so
routes to my local boxes.
it is local. I did not do the Ugreen sync. I think
Yeah,
it's whatever.
I'm so sorry. You're
But
green. You're probably fine.
I did add it to Tailscale.
Okay. See,
So
so that's okay because that's like a private
yeah,
VPN where you
yeah,
get to define what goes where.
yeah,
That is the level of trust that I have for these
yeah,
newfangled NASs.
yeah.
Even Synology, I'm still on the fence of like that Quick Connect or Connect to like
Hmm.
all that's disabled. I don't need any phone
Right.
home, no reverse VPN. Like yeah, I'd rather
Yeah,
have Tailscale. That's yeah. I
yeah.
keep confession here. I keep trying to say Tailwind instead of Tailscale, and I keep trying to say Tailscale
CSS.
instead
Yeah,
of Tailwind because
yeah,
this is how again how little I know about
yeah,
the front end. It's like it starts with tail. It's all the
yeah,
same thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, the Ugreen NAS. I got it. I want to say like on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
When was no? When was the Prime stuff? Because it was like Prime
It
was
was
like
like
Wednesday,
four
Thursday,
days.
Fridays.
Yeah, it's four
Um,
days I think.
yeah,
And
but
you're talking about the
it was
4 day
starting
model,
when
right?
it started on Wednesday, right? So I must
Yeah,
have ordered it on Wednesday, got it on Thursday,
that's awesome.
because it was 400 something, no, $500, $520
That's not too bad.
for the unit itself versus normally, I mean, the full price is like 699. It's often like at 600, and for Prime it was 519. And I got four 8 terabyte spinning disks, two 4 terabyte M.2 SSDs, and 64 gigs of RAM.
That's
Um,
pretty beefy.
yeah, it should be. I installed everything except for the SSDs because they came like a day later. And oh yeah, Prime Ugreen is still offering that Prime sale today
Oh,
on
sweet.
their website. Um, and I get it, and I set it up, and I think this is great. And it sets up a uh, RAID 5 array, and within 30 seconds, it's done. It's like that. That should take like
I,
10
I have
hours,
many questions.
not 30
Raid
minutes.
five, raid five with 4 discs. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, that is something I just mentioned. Yes.
That seems that would be dragons, but listen,
Mhm.
live life on
Well,
on the edge.
which way would you want to go?
Raid 10, raid 10 for
Okay,
sure for that size of drive. Yeah, just because
just so
uncomplicated,
you have the
something breaks.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just raid one
on.
parity,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
super simple. It's fast,
yep,
expandable. You lose a lot of storage at that
yeah,
size, but raid 6 is your next port of call around 5 or 6
yeah.
discs. That's but I
And I think I can
raid 5 is
still
fine. Don't get me
convert.
wrong. It's just
But anyway,
yeah.
so that wasn't
Yeah.
really an important part.
We could talk about this forever. Sorry, I
So
love storage. Moving on.
so so I set it up, and it said it was done in like 20 minutes, or not even 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Like
Right.
it should take a lot longer than that, and it just kind
Eight
of
eight
sat
terabyte
there.
threads. Yeah,
Huh?
it
Just for
should take like half a day.
setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. um that's weird, but it let
Mhm.
me continue, so I thought, okay, I mean, it's first time with Ugreen, so maybe that's the way it is now. And so I'm playing around with it, and I set other things up, and then maybe I'm with it for an hour. I go downstairs, get some dinner, come back upstairs, the thing's offline. Well, that's not good. I try to connect to it. It says, "Would you like to register this new NAS?" Like, what do you mean new NAS? I set, and so
Um,
basically it killed
did
itself.
init? Yeah, it did.
And then you try to re-register it, and so it reinstalls everything, except it doesn't reinstall everything because
Oh
I
no.
don't have any of the apps. I can't do
Oh.
so. And then each time you reset it,
It's a
it
storage box, but it doesn't have all the
it
niceties.
doesn't
Yeah.
it's all gone. And I can't
Ah.
restore it. It's like now I could probably have called them, and I'm sure we would have come to a resolution. But Prime Day is like this short period of time,
Hmm.
and so I ordered a second one. Is initiated the return for the first one,
Hmm.
and got that one on Saturday, and put everything in, did the same stuff, and it said, okay, it'll take 10 hours. Like, okay,
Yeah.
good, that's
Yeah.
better. And that's been that was Saturday morning. It was finished by Saturday evening, and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's been going great. Um,
Awesome.
and I added a few. It's got Docker as well as virtual machines on there as well, so you can run all the things that you would run with like a Synology NAS, or not as many like things that are good to go, ready to go, just like
Yeah.
click the button. But
Docker's all you need. Is it
right, yeah,
x86? Yeah.
it is. It is a Intel. I forget which the processor is.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
it's got a 10 gigabit and a 2.5 gigabit network connection.
Oh, now I'm interested. Okay.
So I do a test copy,
Yeah.
and before I set up like the caching and all that stuff, and I saw how long it was going to take. So okay, so that's not great, but fine. Um, and then I set up the caching. I thought, and it's the same speed. I thought, well, that's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
It,
Depending on the file size. Yeah. Yeah.
well, no. It it turned out that the network I have I have a MacBook M1 Max,
Hmm.
and which has a 1 gigabit network
Yep.
connection. I got a 10 gigabit external interface that hooks up via USB-C, and then did a few tests just to make sure that it really is at 10 gigabit. And every test it was showing it was doing um, uh, about 1 gigabit.
Oh.
So it was
Oh shoot.
the network interface was not good. So I've got a new one
Yeah.
coming. It arrives between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock today, so sometime soon. So I'll be able to try that out, and hopefully I'll have a better experience. Um,
If I can give you some advice,
yeah.
jumbo packets, don't bother,
Yep.
and just direct connect to it, and you'll probably be fine.
Yeah. Well,
That's
so
all you need.
that's what they recommend is if you
Oh no
if
way.
you don't have
Okay,
a 10
perfect.
gig network, and I have a 2.5 gig network. I mean, all my switches are
Which is
2.5 gig.
pretty good. Yeah.
Um, but you can hook up directly a 10 gig direct connection to the NAS, and then that is your connection to the rest. So
Yeah.
it does that bridge networking I mean, like not automatically, but yeah, it's set up for that.
Yeah, I found that just direct connecting eliminated a lot of the complication of
Yeah,
having like a NAS network,
yeah.
the quote unquote NAS, the N in the NAS.
So the question is, what software OS on the Ugreen NAS? It's
Right.
their Ugreen OS, UGOS
Okay.
they call it. But you can install TrueNAS or Unraid or whatever you want as well without worrying about the warranty. They don't care. And from what people have said online, even if you switch over to Unraid, support will still support you even if you're not using their software, is according to other people online. So,
Yeah, I'm just looking through the specs here. So it's got HDMI out and USB. So like
mhm.
it's a little box. You can boot it up, doing whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so
That's pretty sweet.
it's USB C and USB A in front, and then USB A. I think two ports on the back, plus the two network ports, plus the HDMI on the back. And it's
That's awesome.
pretty quiet. I mean, apart from the hard drives noise, um, which isn't going all the time, but
Hmm.
when it's going, you definitely hear it. And I had it on my desk. Now it's on the floor, just to give
Right.
me a little bit of barrier between me and it. Um,
I, I hate to be that person, but like the thing that really bothers me about most of these NASs and ones that
mhm.
feel more affordable is the trays. So I have to ask about the trays. I'm so sorry. I really
Yeah,
do
no,
like storage. How flimsy are the trays? Because like the noise makes me think that they might not be padded properly or something.
So they are plastic,
Ah,
but
okay.
there
Not that
are
that's bad,
no,
but
no, no.
but generally,
There are. I've definitely seen cheap trays.
like
These are
TerraMaster.
not. These are not cheap. They are
Okay.
well made. It's it was kind of shocking how easy the mechanism. I mean, it's screwless as well.
Mm.
So there's a tab that you press and it opens up. It's like slides open. You put it down. It's got two little pins that stick in the screw holes, and you close it shut, and it's pretty well in there. And it feels. I mean, even with the drive out of it, the tray itself feels much more solid than I can remember anything from, the Drobo or Synology or QNAP.
J- Drobo's pretty bad. QNAP trays are all right, but they're like thin metal.
Yeah. So I mean, this was definitely it was also, it's light compared to like the Synology or QNAP. I feel like,
Hmm.
I mean, the QNAP one was a two drive unit, a small thing that I got as a temporary thing for a Datadog, like the first Datadog, um, before we did Dash, the first of the or it might have been Dash. It might have been the first Dash
Summit. Okay.
Summit. It was the one that we did at uh, the studios, kind of a four-story building where we did a training class, and like 400 people signed up for it, and 1,000 people showed up, and the
I think
fire
that was the first
marshal,
batch. Yeah.
yeah, and the fire marshal said,
I
"Go
wasn't there for
away."
that.
Okay.
But I do like so there's questions in the chat about operating systems, and I
Hmm.
think that's valid. Bring your own is what I like to see.
Yep.
The QNAPs generally, I think you probably void your warranty unless you take out the stick, but
Sure.
you can typically install whatever you want. Some of the Synologies will have HDMI out. The Asus that I've got doesn't. I don't think the new ones do. But
Yeah.
that's something that I look for is like, hey, if everything goes away,
Yep.
can I one use these drives?
Yep.
Two, can I put my own operating system on
Yep.
here? But like basically, can I get my data?
Yeah.
If they go under, if Ugreen decides that they don't want
Yep.
to do NASA's anymore
Yep.
because it's not profitable, can I still get access to my data?
Yep.
So, is it? I'm assuming that it's. I'm trying to think of the new fangled name for RAID. MD RAID. Is it MD RAID on Linux? Is that what they're using? I would
I don't know.
assume so. Yeah, I guess fair enough. You're not going the internals. Yeah, yeah. But
Oh,
it
what I
should
was going to
be
say was,
transportable.
compared to those other devices without the
Mm,
drives, actually, I
right,
mean, this thing is super light.
right.
It is a very light box compared to the other devices I've had in the past.
Gotcha. So you're gonna put it on your airplane, your kit plane that you're gonna start soon, where weight matters. I did want to. I was trying to segue a little bit earlier, but I'll make it a hard cut. But I want to ask your opinion on this. I don't want to say kerfuffle. We used that word last week on the brouhaha or the noise surrounding the windsurf quote unquote
Yeah.
acquisition.
Yeah.
And I'm using quotes here and trying to be gentle because I legit don't think I understand the full story, and maybe nobody does. Maybe we need another movie for this one or something.
Yeah. I mean, I part of me wonders if it is, there was I can't remember whether it was Series C or was there a D for Datadog, and one of the most, it was, some huge amount of, I mean, for us at the time, it was a huge
Hmm.
amount of money. I don't know, 50 million, 100 million, somewhere like, and a lot of that money was actually going into like directly into the pockets of the founders and the, you know,
Hmm.
uh, and it would felt weird, but they had been Datadog at the time. I mean, it was the initial formation is out of their pockets and
Hmm.
all their blood, sweat, and tears. And they were taking nothing for salary. And eventually, it you're running this company that's turns out to be kind of successful, and you've got nothing to. You're still living like tr- scratching by,
Hmm.
and you get this investment to, and finally allows you to you know, do what you're worth. And I wonder if maybe the founders and the early employees are probably, I mean, it was had all their own money in this company, couldn't really. Now this is totally guessing, and weren't really seeing. I
Sorry, I'm
wonder
trying
if
to
they
pull up
weren't really
Series C and
seeing
Series
anything,
D.
and and finally they get this. They look like they're going to get this purchase, and it falls through, and it's like, what a incredible letdown.
Right.
And now this other company comes along and offers to buy, and they are able to leave, and get a lot of money. So I wish they would have done something more like what Datadog did and raised, and
Right.
but of course that is based on no actual information.
Right.
But could imagine something like that where they are working for a successful company, running a successful company, and yet
Hmm.
not really seeing the benefits of that secret company, or that secure, successful company. And there are probably spouses or other family, I mean, just pressure from
All types of stuff.
outside
Yeah.
the company, like, why am I not getting the value? And after a long period of time, that pressure is hard to overcome.
And it's a valid point
Yeah,
as well, right? Like you've put sweat equity, I think is
yeah,
a common term for this. You've put in your blood, sweat, and
yeah,
tears into a company that you expected to be acquired. That's the
yeah,
whole idea
yeah,
of the quote unquote startup is to
yeah,
be sold off, become successful,
yeah,
have your investment, actual real investment, pan out and be
yeah,
successful.
right,
And I think so. All I've done is watch one Theo video reaction
right,
to this, who is an investor in Windsurf, so of course has like a horse in this
mm,
race, which is not good either. So
right,
obviously there's a lot of opinion in there. But I'd say that the brass tacks is that it looks like when something happens like this, the people who are left at the company don't profit as much as they could,
right,
as well as the people who just joined the company might be. It's not a
sure,
sinking ship or anything like that, but like not the promises that they had are definitely
right,
not the same. This is what's actually happening now,
yeah, yeah.
which sucks.
It's, I mean, what is the future of windsurf now? I mean, they've gone to a company which had a kind of a um, I was going
It's
to say
Devin,
something
right?
negative, huh?
No, go ahead. It's Devin. I
It's
think
Devon, yeah,
we should all know Devin. About it's
yeah,
Cognition is the name of the company who
right.
owns Devin, runs Devin, the Devin company. Yeah, Devin
Did
definitely
Devon
had
turn
a
out to be
rocky start.
anything?
Just recently. Sorry to say this, but I feel like Devin was more of like an impact in terms of maybe culture
Yeah,
or the realm of what's
sure,
possible,
right,
and open people's minds up to what if there was a
right,
persona in an LLM for a
right,
suite, and what would that suite persona look like?
right,
Aside from just hanging out in Slack and automating things with
yeah,
tissues to Jira tickets, I mean, there's got to be more to Devin than that, and I'm sure there
yeah,
is. But what I've heard is that it seems more like is it a code rabbit at this
hmm.
point in time where it's less good at coding and better good at or
And they've
better good
just,
better at shuffling things around.
and by acquiring this, they've acquired a 82 million annual revenue, which is pretty nice
For now.
for now. But are they going to lose a lot of that revenue because people see this as a sinking ship?
I All I want to say is like Google Gemini CLI or whatever it is, that open source
Yeah,
CLI is definitely worth a look at this point in time. If we're
yeah,
forking VS Code, I feel like we got to get to the forking CLI, but like it feels like a commodity, I guess is what I'm getting
yeah.
at. There are a lot of editors out there. No one's talked
Hmm.
about Eclipse yet, but at some point in time, people will figure out that Eclipse Theia is there, or Code Server, or a whole bunch of
Well, I
these
mean,
other
Codium added
platforms.
the bits to that to Eclipse. Oh,
Codium's done
not
that for
Eclipse.
a
It
long
was
time. JetBrains, Eclipse,
JetBrains.
there's a
That's
few
what
of
I'm
them.
thinking of. Yeah,
I think even maybe NeoVim, or at
yeah.
least or they're trying to, but Codium's goal, and I guess they're now called, they've changed their name, right? Codium is actually Windsurf.
Windsurf. Yeah, but no, are they going to
Yeah.
change it now again? Now that they're not?
I don't know, but my understanding was that those plugins ran in multiple IDs. Full disclosure, have not
Sure,
tried them in those IDs.
sure.
Um, the thing that I think I'm interested in, and maybe people aren't there yet, is where if agent feels like the wrong word, but the task is IDE or application wide. And if that's agentic, then so be it. But like, I think we've talked about this before, that the tool you should be able to use itself. That this is a key like a gate or hurdle for me is to have like
Mhm.
Illustrator. Please don't Gen AI render vectors. Use
Right,
Illustrator to draw a
right,
circle when
right,
when I ask for a circle. It's right there.
right,
Please just drive this for me or whatever that API
right.
looks like internally. And it feels like the windsurfs and the cursors have done this. It
Mhm.
looks like people are having a hard time continuing the success because a lot more of the tools I'm seeing now are, I don't know, can we call them shell IDEs,
Mhm.
CLI IDEs, whatever that looks like.
Right,
And it's not NeoVim, which is
right,
full disclosure I want to see, but I understand
right.
why we're not going to see it. It's like a TUI that looks like it's from a Wise terminal circa 1983 right now.
Mhm.
Like this is what we're at, and if this is
Yeah.
state of the art for GUIs, so be it. But where
Yeah.
is that open source alternative that looks like Cursor or Windsurf? Now, I'll put my soapbox away. That's what I'm here for. Is like
Yeah.
whatever Aider or Goose or OpenText or some fork of Gemini CLI looks
What
like.
did you say?
I
Say
feel like
open
this
what?
open. Did I say OpenText? Shoot.
You said open text. Look, I
What
don't
am I
think they're
thinking of?
involved.
What am I thinking of? OpenIDE?
Okay.
Ah! Oh shoot! What is the open source Claude code equivalent? Oh, we stumped him. Open something. Open. I thought it was not open text. Open UI. Oh no. Oh no. I can't find it. Open GUI. I can't
You
remember
mean
what this
like
thing
the
spells.
front end?
Yeah. Yep.
Open Web UI?
No. Command line. Close.
What are you talking about?
I will find it, but yeah, open source command line UI for LLMs in an IDE. Aider
Hmm.
would be the other one. Goose would be another one.
Right.
I thought there was one that was a little bit more of a like a roll up feature set.
Mm.
I will find it though. Yeah, Aider in the chat. Yes, we've used Aider.
Yeah.
I think there's also Klein and RuCode
Yeah.
as a result. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is where I feel like we've come to, and maybe we're less concerned with the GUI now.
Yeah.
And perhaps the technology that they're giving Google is handy in
Yeah.
that space, and maybe Google will roll it into something like their CLI or what have you.
Right.
But that's where I think I'm looking,
Yeah.
or maybe like could they improve Google's Web ID, which is not great.
Yeah.
I think that's all code server for the most part, or looks like code server.
Of course, I'm just realizing another problem that Windsurf, I think, had is that for up until now, they've been operating under the idea that they have X number of calls to the AI engines, and with
Right.
every one of those calls, as long as it's not the SWE models, then every one of those calls they lose money on,
Hmm.
and maybe it was just out of money. I mean, that in which case anybody acquiring them means they're going to be out of money. I don't know.
Sorry,
And
all I can find here is open hands, and I know it's not that, but there's yes, I'm here with you.
and then there was also like an open jewel or open open Jude, open
Mm.
related to a Google project that's minus the open part.
Hmm.
I saw that pretty recently.
Amazing. I feel like we're at the point now where this these tools that we're using are changing. I guess is
Yeah.
my main rant here. So it feels like the IDE is changing. Have I ranted about Linear yet? Do I
Mm,
need to rant about Linear taking over Jira or like Jujitsu? Have I mentioned that either?
no.
Jujitsu is like an alternative to Git. So Git CLI, Jujitsu is an alternative to from Google, I believe.
Hmm.
And the other thing on my radar is just Discourse taking over Slack. But it feels like the tool set of things that you open up when you turn on your computer these days is different than it used to be 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The IDE is different. The Google Suite or maybe the
Right.
Outlook Suite seems to still be the same for now, but the IDE is different. The tool that you're using in the command line is different. The website you go to search is different. The browser, I think in your case is different, and some people are maybe waiting for Ladybird, but is generally different. this, I think I said search engine
Yeah.
already, is different, but all these tools that you're using on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis are different. And the API that they use to talk to each other is also different.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's MCP, but it whatever that common thing between them is also different.
Right.
And and I feel like it feels like the landscape is ripe for disruption. And I'm not
Hmm.
sure if Cursor or Windsurf are that disruption.
Right.
Sorry, I'm fumbling on my words here, but it feels like early stages is
Yeah.
what I'm getting at. Is that this feels like just one of the few little things that seemed important at the time that aren't, that got a lot of money,
Right.
and we just move on. So
Yeah.
I feel like we're in the move on. Open code. Thank you so much, Bill. It's such a silly name. Like the open source code alternative called Open Code. Yes, that should have been easy to
There
remember.
was
What
a
was not,
one of the podcasts involving Y Combinator folks.
right?
I would say a month ago, a few weeks to a month ago,
Hmm.
talked about was like it was a 4-person roundtable talking about where is AI going now,
Right.
and one of the ideas was that you know there are disruptions like this in the market every now and then, for hundreds of years, it's or 100 years,
Hmm.
um, and and it's usually what wins out is usually not what we imagined. It's not a better version of whatever we had before,
Right.
and what they were going to from that was the the people who are doing a chat with an
Hmm.
AI. That makes sense because it's a continuation from what we had before, but that's
Hmm.
probably not going to be the thing that
Right.
changes everything. And so if
Right.
you're relying on a chat interface, you probably haven't figured out the right interface yet.
Right. It feels like the UI
And
is going to change.
most of the coding platforms are still basically the chat UI.
That's correct. Yeah. And I want to say like Tab 9 was maybe groundbreaking in
Hmm.
teaching you that like the no UI,
Right, right.
which I know people hate, but that invisible UI I
Yeah,
feel like is where we're going,
yeah,
because we're at a stage now where natural language can be for the most part interpreted properly,
yeah,
which is phenomenal in
yeah.
terms of UI. We have multimodal
Right,
models that can take in text or sound,
right.
depending on the model. This to me is like a massive
Yeah.
capability, and we're concentrating on tool usage, which I listen, I totally get it. But also, I'm over here looking at some of these offline Google models that are multimodal. They're surprisingly good at
Mm,
OCR. Speaking of
yeah,
open text, like just to
yeah,
harken back to problems that seem super boring, but are
yeah,
actually
yeah.
incredibly important. You've got OCR with translation and the way to pipe out speech from something you scanned. That's
Right.
huge.
Yeah.
And we're just not there yet. Like imagine being able
No.
to talk to your editor. Like I
Yeah.
listen, I'm making my coffee. I got 5 minutes. Give me a
Right.
200 line program that like turns off the coffee
Yeah.
maker before I'm done. Like let's go. Like
Yeah.
whatever it is, Google Home. Sorry to mention one of the names, but like the Amazon Alexa or Siri or all the
Right.
other names you shouldn't mention. Like that's what I want
Yeah.
before I go to work. Write this piece of code so that when I get
Right.
to work, I can
Yeah.
compile it and run it. And
Yeah.
and we're almost there. I've admitted before publicly to talking to ChatGPT, but I still feel like this something around there is what I want to see. What is that IDE that doesn't have an IDE,
Right.
or what is the equivalent to Code Desktop that allows
Hmm.
Claude Desktop that allows you to go in and make those little artifacts that are in React or
Hmm.
HTMX or what have
Hmm.
you. What is that equivalent IDE that has little
Hmm.
playgrounds? Is it a Jupyter notebook? Like, is it?
Right.
There's definitely something different happening that I want to
Yeah.
see. Anyway, I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
Like super. It's like a dog with a bone. I
Yeah.
can't stop. I'm really sorry to overuse a pun, but I'm really interested in what's happening right now. This
Yep.
emergence of new tools,
Yep.
especially in the open source space. And I think one of the other things that's happening at the same time is that there are open source models, and maybe this is why I'm so interested in Olama. Is like if I can bolt on Olama plus whatever to some new GUI that doesn't require
Hmm.
me typing,
Hmm.
that like that's kind of amazing
And
to me.
that's what I love about CoTypist as a tool that I've
What's that?
a co-typist. I've mentioned it before. It basically allows me to use an Olama
Oh,
model
code typist.
on my
My
machines. Yeah.
yeah, my apologies.
Yeah.
I heard code typist. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay. Co-typist. And so as I'm typing, it's filling in, the next few words of what
Hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, I find I use that so often, and that's a great AI UI without a UI,
Right.
because it just shows up. Now, is typing the right thing that I should be doing, and rather should I be talking it? In which, if I'm talking to, what I want to generate a document, and I'm doing the speech to text, that speech to text combined with something that kind of completes my text, I don't know how that would work. Because as I'm typing, I want it to tell me, oh, is this what you want? But yeah.
Yeah, it won't
No, I
interrupt
mean,
you, but
I want it to ask
hey,
me, is this what you want?
yeah, yeah.
To
Hold on, Matt. It sounds like you're on a
Yeah.
tirade here. Did you really mean?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
ranting about Rust again? Like, yeah.
right.
But moving on.
Yeah,
There was something in the chat about like putting prompts into source control. I think that's happening
yeah,
already,
yeah,
and I feel like in the future the prompts are just throwaway. Like no one's gonna
yeah.
care about prompts anymore. Bring your own prompts. It'll be a skill that we all have, or maybe some of us think we have, but we don't. Like Google searching, for example.
Yeah.
But it does feel like the prompt engineering is gone. I feel like we're in the context engineering phase now where we're
Hmm.
controlling what goes into the model. So
Right,
be it a PDF or are you
right.
compacting your context? What are you doing to roll that up as you
Yep.
continue a conversation or a session? That's a now problem. But I also feel like as context windows get bigger and bigger and are more trivial, this is not a problem either.
Right.
So it's then I start thinking about like, do we need to advance the reach of computing? Is this a good or bad endeavor? But are there people
Right.
out there who are using a computer with like a joystick, like a
Hmm.
mouse control,
Hmm.
or accessibility for hands? Because that's exactly what I'm getting at. Is like if
Right.
you're beyond typing, what does that mean for the people who now have access to these resources?
Right.
That's what I'm super interested in, and it
Right.
feels like that 5 year problem of 3 years ago. So we should be pretty close to it. This is where
Yeah,
my brain
and
is.
uh, with context, I mean, you can provide. I mean, some of these models allow you to provide this massive context,
Yeah.
but providing a massive context, we still have all the laws of physics and copper, and I mean, getting them upload a huge amount of information
Even just
uploaded
that
takes a
database,
long
right? Yeah.
time. And we're back to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Z modem problems at the beginning of this call.
Yes, and some of those zipping algorithms. I'm
Yeah.
glad you had a call back in here because I was waiting for it. Uh, are now relevant. You don't
Yeah.
need to end every sentence with a period. You
Right.
don't need to start with a the. Most of the
Hmm.
articles you're using, you can probably drop, but we're going to start getting into like a terse mode, which is why
Right.
I don't think the prompt engineering is that important. And when I'm looking at the system prompts, I can kind of see that this is starting
Yeah.
to come in. But that terse mode is getting in there. The other is we're using English. Some languages are more terse than others.
Right.
And this is where I think, sorry to bring up Arj again, I think having a multi-language approach to language
Mm-hmm.
models will actually be really helpful. I'm super excited to see what's coming out of CJK. I think I've mentioned this before, but China, Japan, and Korea, where
Okay.
the language is different and you seem to be able to fit more knowledge into the same page space. But it means that the decoding your human brain needs to have like 6,000 symbols
Right.
on access, right? I don't. I got like I used to have 600. It feels like 60 now. It's like ideograms we can say like Chinese
Right.
characters or Japanese characters.
So
But that's where I think we're going.
somewhat related to this, over the
Yeah.
weekend I rewatched Arrival.
Oh, that's a good movie.
So the idea there is you've got this circle that describes a sentence or many sentences,
Yes.
for that the heptapods, spurt
Yes.
out, and once you understand their language and really feel their and experience their language, then you understand how to time travel.
Yes. Absolutely. That's what I'm
And so
getting at.
once I've understand the language at such a basic level, yeah,
Oh,
I'm able to
oh,
do so much
sorry.
further.
Can I? This isn't really correcting the record or anything like that, but can I indemnify myself publicly? I just realized that ChatGPT is now logging because of some US government law. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
in there earlier, like 2 years ago, trying to jailbreak this thing, robbing banks, building things I shouldn't with kitchen materials. Please let the record show that I was doing
Well,
research.
I don't
Don't
know when
don't
that
revoke my
started.
API keys. Yeah, don't send anybody to my
Yeah,
house.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's always going to be. I mean, when the New York
I asked
Times
about try. Did you ask about time travel? I definitely asked about time travel. I mean,
I mean, the New York Times court case that's going to end at some point, but I'm sure there's going to be another
right,
court case that requires them
right.
to somebody to keep all those records.
Yes, totally
Yeah,
agree. And
it's
there's another
crazy.
comment from Robert. Thank you so much for giving us all this
Yeah.
content here. But basically, when we're talking about things like feature specs, I kind of agree with him. So he's saying,
Mm.
or them, they're saying PRDs,
Ah,
Jira Stories, feature specs. Those
so
are those do feel like.
that was one of the main emphasis for the newer IDE that Amazon put out.
I was yeah, sorry. I
Yeah,
meant to say I tried to say Google, but Amazon is exactly what was
yeah,
on to my tongue. Exactly. And that feels to me like a new way of coding. Maybe, again, I
yeah,
don't like the UI. Perhaps you could talk to it via
yeah.
Siri or what have you. But being able to define what you want, and it does, I haven't used it. My understanding is it does kick back clarifying questions,
Right.
which does
Yeah,
really help the process. And maybe
yeah,
that's just part of the prompting. I'm not sure. But I feel like that's sort of guiding people through. It's
yeah.
like, Microsoft Clippy is waltzing into the room. It's like, hey, it looks like you want to start like a Lovable clone or something. How do we get
Yeah,
started? Like,
yeah,
here's some popular GitHub repos that we can
yeah.
rip off or whatever it is that they're trying to do. But it does feel like the Clippy future is here.
Right.
I hate to bring out the corpse of Clippy yet again, but yes, it feels like that natural language Microsoft Bob future
Yep.
is now a now thing.
Yep. Cool.
All right. Did you have any checkouts? Sorry, I
Uh,
ranted a bit too long about the
I
IDs there. My bad.
I do. I do. So I mean, I told you about the
What do
NAS.
you got? You
So that
did.
was something I got last week because of Prime. Um, something that was unrelated to Prime, but I got that has it's it's a shoe.
Okay. Just one shoe? Oh,
Two shoes.
these are awesome.
Uh, two shoes
Those are
with
great.
yeah. These are quite kind of amazing. You know, they're separate toes, so each toe is a
Right.
separate thing. Um, it's from a company called Paluva,
Okay.
and they're a little bit different than like the Vibram has had their
That's
five fingers for a long
Vibram
time,
Five Fingers. Yeah.
and a lot of the barefoot shoes they'll have like a some crazy thin sole, you know, like 3 millimeters. These are a
Mhm.
little bit thicker at I think 12, but it's the same zero drop. So it's the heel is the same level as the foot as the front. Um, and so it's a barefoot shoe, but it's a thicker sole. Um, they're great. They're really
Awesome.
amazingly comfortable. It's the same guy that did. There's a food company called Primal Kitchen.
Okay.
The when there was a craze over God, what was it?
Keto?
Paleo,
It's
the
keto,
paleo
right?
diet
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I was on
And
that craze.
so this guy, was one of the main people behind that whole push, and created this company called Paleo Kitchen, I think, or anyway, whatever he created,
I think that's right.
mayonnaise,
Yeah.
yeah, mayonnaise and all that type of stuff. At Mark Sisson, Sisson, and his latest venture is this Paluva making these
Mm.
shoes, and I mean it is so. When I got the box, I thought, oh, there's been a shipping mistake because there's nothing in here. It feels
Oh, were they
so light.
compressed?
No, it
Oh,
feels so
nice.
light. It does compress, and they're very, flexible, thin shoes. But they are just so dang
Now,
comfortable.
since this is the second time you said something's very light, like how much have you been working out, Matt? You're looking great. Are you just like curling iron at the gym? It's like these shoes are featherweight and this NAS is nothing.
They're like 6 ounces, I think it is.
Holy shoot! That's really light. Okay,
So 7
wow.
ounces, I think.
It's like a
Yeah.
plastic fork or something, a
Yeah.
metal
Yeah.
fork.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean the phone is definitely significantly heavier.
Right. Wow.
Um,
That's amazing. And as somebody who has, I think they're called double wide, two E feet, how do they fit your feet? I'm assuming you've got
yeah.
large
So
feet
they
because you are a taller person.
the the, the thing that is hard to get over. I mean, first off,
Mm.
I mean, you get well if you think of like socks. Well,
Yeah.
if you wear normal socks, they're not going to fit because your toes. And so you get these five finger toe. I mean, either wear barefoot or the five finger toes. And
Do not wear your shoes barefoot.
no, no. And so now you've got these the socks as well. And uh, what was the question?
The question was, how does it fit your feet? I think
Yeah.
that because
So
because because like I worry about the crease kind of like rubbing between the toes
yeah,
or what have you.
and that's the hardest thing is just the separation between the toes is fine, except for the separation between these two toes.
Oh,
It
okay.
feels like it's starting to go a little bit I mean, and they say it's gonna be weird because your toes have been so close together
Yeah,
for all
your
your
pinky
life.
toes probably. Yeah, pushed in
And
a bit.
so it's going to take a while to get used to the toes being a little bit further apart. Um, and as you wear them, as you put them, I mean, putting them on the first few times, it's really hard because the toes, you find that you have like two toes in one slot, and then you like have to
Yeah.
reseat a few times. But I find that now when I put them on, it's been about a week. When I put them on, they just slide in into the right holes perfectly every time. Um,
Interesting.
and so they're getting used to where the holes are, and it's it's weird having so much. I mean, it's weird for a lot of reasons. I mean, having so much
Right.
connection with the ground because even though it's thicker than the other
Right.
barefoot shoes, it's still a really thin sole, and so when you're
Right.
walking on gravel, you feel the gravel.
Right.
Sometimes that's not so good, and so they have a different version of these called their ATR shoes, which are a little bit thicker and meant for hiking. Um, and I'm very tempted to get those now because these are
Hmm.
and when you get them because it's an online shoe store. I mean, well, which shoes you try them on, and I mean, I normally wear a size 12 shoe, and not
Hmm.
everybody's size 12 shoe is the same thing, and so you try a few, and then you find the shoe that you fits well. Um, and I knew that I needed a 12. They have an app where you basically take a photo of your feet and it tells you, okay, you actually want a 12. And so I agreed with my assumption that I want a 12 and said, actually, when you buy them, you really want a half size up. I was like,
Okay.
okay, so 12 and a half. I get the 12 and a half and they are, okay, well, this was an annoyance. I said ship overnight because I
Okay.
really want to try these things out. Um,
Right
and
now.
I got a coupon code that was like $30 off, and the shipping was $30. Like great, free basically free
Easy
shipping.
peasy.
Um, UPS picked it up and then sat on it for 4 days. It just stayed in Vegas for 4 or 5 days, and then on July 4th, they finally July 3rd. Oh yeah, here's this
Okay.
box. Let me ship it out. And so, and then it still took another 5 days to arrive here.
Hmm.
Um, so it was 8 days of shipping for overnight on UPS, which was really annoying. But
That's
because
awful.
of the way they do it, um, I saw that it didn't fit, and so as soon as I said it doesn't fit, they shipped out a new set of shoes, and I need to return the first ones, but they ship them out right away. So
Awesome.
they were a little bit tight at 12 and a half, and so I'm now actually wearing a pair that are 13, and
Gotcha.
so it's
Feet sizes don't roll over. It's not XL1 or something past 12.
yeah, they go up to 14.
I've obviously never seen a pair of shoes over the size of 12 in my life.
Well, I don't
That
normally wear anything above 12. I mean,
that
the so I don't know what my toes were going right up against the front
oh,
of the
that's not
shoe.
good. Yeah,
Um,
that's not good. They look like hockey gloves to me. They look like
yeah,
boxy around the fingers,
yeah,
like hockey
yeah. I mean,
gloves.
they're definitely thicker, and I mean,
Right.
they feel like they would be comfortable barefoot,
It's
but
like a
I
foot
wouldn't want
glove.
to. Yeah,
I worry about sweat in the summer and bacteria
yeah.
and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
And they have a more of a meshy version as well, and
That might be better. At
they
least
have
breathable, right?
they also
Yeah.
have more like dress shoes, or
Oh,
like a they're still soft, but they're more polished, like leather kind of thing. And for like, I don't think I'm ever gonna wear that kind of thing, but sure.
I think the kids say that's an ick.
So what?
That's an ick, ICK. Like
Ah,
if your
okay.
date shows up and they're wearing like
Yeah.
formal five toe shoes, maybe that's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Probably.
just casual five finger shoes or
Yeah.
five toe shoes. Formal. Yeah.
And
And the thing I was going to ask you is about socks. Like, yeah, like where do you get socks? How do you get
so
socks?
Amazon has a lot of different kinds. So they
Okay,
sell Palooza sells socks. They're $15 per pair of socks, and I don't know if I've paid that much for socks before, but
right.
um, and Amazon has lots from a bunch of bunch of Chinese companies that are pretty good. They're actually I find them more comfortable than the Palouvas at $12 for three pairs.
I think I've always been a fan of I think the tabby socks or something that they've got like one split in them. It's
Oh,
like the
okay,
big
like
toe, maybe big
for
toe index one.
for flip flops.
For flip flops or walking
Yeah,
around, like those seem that's the
yeah,
right level of
yeah.
mobility, I think, on my feet. But I don't know. I do worry about the pinky toe because if you injure
So
your pinky toe, apparently it's a big deal.
with normal socks, I find I'll wear the socks for the shoes, and when I'm done with I take the shoes off when I come inside, and I take the socks off right away because my socks are hot because
Mm.
it's hot. I find with the five finger or five toe socks, I take my shoes off. I don't need to take my socks off. They're not hot because I mean,
Interesting.
like with at when it's wintertime, you can have gloves or you can have
Or
the
mittens. Yeah.
mittens, and the mittens are
Yeah.
so much warmer, and which is a
Yes.
good thing. But in
Yes.
socks, it's not a good thing.
You're
So
winning me over. And someone with sweaty feet, you're like
yeah,
actually winning me over right now.
that is
If you can promise less sweaty feet, I'm like, I'm in. I'm
I
so in.
did I walked in these well last night I did about 5.5 mile walk
Oh,
in
that's
these,
a good test. Yeah.
and there were there wasn't a lot of pain the next it wasn't not a lot. There was no pain the next day. It was very comfortable for the entire walk. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's a good recommendation. I look forward to
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
more injured pinky
And other
toes.
people have other people. What I've heard is that people will say those are ugly shoes.
I don't think they're ugly.
I have not heard that comment yet.
Right.
I have gotten a number of people said, "Oh, five fingers or five toes, whatever."
Five toes. Sorry, that's my bad. I kept saying five
Um,
fingers.
I've definitely heard that. It's like, "Oh, what do you think of them?" And they're like interested in them, but maybe
Hmm.
that's just because I live where I live.
On Bainbridge Island, around a bunch of startup people who
Right,
want to
right.
try alternative things that they can wear.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm surprised I haven't seen as many. Is Utilikilt still a company? Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
I know
haven't seen
someone
many
who
people
likes
wear
them.
those here.
I have seen some total one kilt this summer, and
Yeah,
it was on a
yeah.
woman. Yes.
So
Yes.
anyway,
Maybe
sorry that
utility
took a
kills will
long
make a
time.
big comment. No, no, it's good. That's cool. I'm here, unfortunately, for the quantified self or the trying of new things.
Hmm.
There's a reason I really like t-shirts because like I'm
Right.
interested in how we move around in
Yeah.
the earth, And I have tried the Vibram. I want to say minimal or minimus
Hmm.
shoes, and I
Hmm.
wore them for a long time. I want to say 3 millimeter, but maybe 4 or 5 is closer to
Yeah.
what I actually liked. But pretty close to the ground
Hmm.
as a result of me trying to make sure that
Right.
the arch is strong.
Yeah.
Um, I was told by my podiatrist that this is absolutely this is hard mode. Don't do hard
Yeah,
mode.
yeah.
Get super cushiony shoes, and I did that, and those are great. But I feel like I'm at the point now where I want to get back to strengthening the feet.
It is uh, it is shockingly comfortable.
Mm,
Now, the big thing you need to pay attention to is not walking like this and landing
right,
there and rolling that way. And you really definitely want to roll, hit that way, so you're straight
ball
down,
first.
or
Yeah,
that, yeah. And so that takes a bit of getting, and I have to like pay attention to it. And as soon as I walk on my heel, it's like, oh, I definitely feel that,
right. Yeah, that
especially on
makes sense.
gravel.
I don't have a lot to check out other than a workflow that I'm currently trying to muddle my way through.
Okay.
But as I'm coding with LLMs, I've been using offline Git, so just Git as a like Git
Hmm.
init, and then you check in, check out, whatever. Mostly because I'm dealing a lot with API keys, and the
Mm.
LLMs have a tendency to like write that into the log
Yeah.
of the Git commit. Neither here nor there. I've been playing around with Jinja and trying to like
Mm.
massage
Hmm.
LLMs to using those commands. It's actually a hurdle that's not worth it in order to teach
Mm.
a model something that's new, but I've been using Jinja as a result. What I've been playing around with though is something called Git Worktree. Have you tried this before?
I had not or I have not played around with it, but I heard there's a YouTuber called Bash Bunny that talks about
Ah,
it.
I may have watched the same video.
Okay.
Because I do like Bash Bunny's content. In
Yes.
fact, I'm glad we're here. And maybe as somebody who likes Bash, I'm all in. You had me at that.
And I
Um,
found her because I love the company she works. Charm, is it Charm that she works for, or
oh, I didn't know that.
yeah?
I didn't know that. Anyway,
Anyway,
I think the better recommendation might be Bash Bunny's channel because it's
yeah,
actually quite good,
yes,
uh, straight up. Um, and I feel like the biggest thing for me, at least, in dealing with this, uh, how do I get around with in dealing with these LLMs on a regular basis? I think the thing that I want to do is have multiple agents working at the same time, and in Git or with a to do or a README, it gets bad really quick.
right,
Sorry, I'm lagging again. My apologies. But like, what I'm looking for in Git Worktree is a way for the LLM or the LLM agents to check out branches, work on them, check them back in, and I can orchestrate. Which I think is way better than what I'm doing right now, which is like me and you, Matt, on the same freaking commit, trying
right,
to just clobber each other. Like, nah,
right,
my feature's better. Like, I got here first. You wait up, you catch up. Or the merging, or the fast forwarding, or the rewinding. Like,
right.
I'm kind of done with that with Git, and that's why I was playing around with jujitsu. But yeah, this is where I feel like I've come
So
to is like
the
I'm
idea,
sticking them in their own little worlds.
I I listened to the Bash Bunny episode on work trees, and
Hmm.
with so many of the videos I watch, I think we mentioned this last time. I don't actually watch
Hmm.
them; I listen to them. And on these, like my 5.5 mile walk yesterday, I'm listening to a whole bunch of YouTube videos. And so sometimes some of these things require actually looking at the screen, and I think that one kind of did. But it sounded like, is each branch going into a separate directory?
It's a separate dot directory. I haven't looked at the
Oh,
folder
okay.
structure, but I believe it's a separate dot directory. So
Oh, okay.
imagine that, like, you know how you can get not get clone, but you can like get attach or get link other
Hmm.
projects within the project as like a subfolder
Hmm.
structure. It seems more like that, but for the .git repo and for the like git log,
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera. So they're actually working on. Imagine that four people have checked things out on their own laptops, but haven't
Right.
committed yet.
Right.
Is what it looks like in practice, but it's all within the same folder or same directory.
Hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
there's subdirectories at that point in time, but yeah, within the same area. What's
Yeah.
nice is that you can look at all of what's going on and pick and choose, kind of
Right.
like cherry picking. And I know a lot of people are allergic to that, but that's what I want at this point in time. If I'm
Yeah.
using, and I'm generally at two or three agents, but if I'm having agents work on different things and they do accidentally trip on each other's feet, this seems like the best way to do it. I did see one comment saying that I was
Yeah.
right, so I'm happy. But I've just started this as of like this morning and a little bit last night, so I'm working out. But so far, as someone who spends most of their day in Git diff, basically just looking at code that's coming in and trying to curate,
Hmm.
I guess what works and what doesn't. This seems to be a better way forward for me
Hmm.
as someone who is in two agents and sort of
Right.
struggling with 3. That's
Right.
kind of where I'm at now. Oh, I didn't know you can name the directories whatever you like. Oh, thank you very much, Robot Glock. You've been helping us out quite a bit this episode. But I did not know that. I thought it had to pick its own name, so my
Yeah.
apologies.
I just this second realized that it said Robot Glock and not Robert Glock.
Yes, this is why
Yes.
I said it. I assumed
Yes.
they're masculine, but they may not be. I don't know if robots need gender, so this is kind of what I was getting at. But yeah,
And is it like
get
an
work tree.
eclipse? The photo or the image is like an eclipse?
Oh, I can't see it here. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but yeah, that is my checkout. Sorry, we're a bit over time. Hopefully,
We
our
are.
chat of Five Finger Footwear and Get Treat didn't know you too much. But here
Yep.
we are. Thanks
Yep.
again for joining for yet
Yeah,
another Not
thanks.
Right. Have a
This
chat.
was fun.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go see if I have a 10 gigabit Ethernet adapter on my doorstep.
I definitely want to know more next week in terms of
Yeah.
what you hit. I'm gonna guess at RAID 5 for 4 discs, you're gonna get hit 170-ish megabytes a second. But let me know if you get more.
Okay. Ready.
All right, folks.
Bye.
Let's find the end chat button.
Finish.